first known rules of golf were drawn up in 1744 by the Gentlemen Golfers of Edinburgh in Leith, Scotland. Since then, the game has changed dramatically. Golf courses, equipment, and not least the rules. So where do I go when I want to learn about the rules of the game today? Well, I go to the Golf Rules Questions podcast with Blakey and Roscoe, of course. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Golf Rules Questions podcast. Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is where you choose to listen to us. Thank you for listening in to this week's episode of the Golf Rules Questions podcast. Must be up to episode, 31 or 32, Blakey?
Yeah, 31.
Episode 31. Well done to you again on another week of weekly Golf Rules Questions podcast, where we maintain our position as Australia's number one podcast focusing on the rules of golf. It's an easy claim to make. How's your week been, David?
Yeah, good. It's been busy. Answering and all the queries on the rules of golf that we get. So it's actually been really busy with one specific situation that happened on the LPGA Tour, and we'll get into that later. Roscoe, how's your week been?
My week has been busy serving the many, many new golfers that are coming to this wonderful game that we play. The existing golfers and my joke is always, they keep losing golf balls, I keep selling them. So, no, golf's in a good space in terms of participation and play. It's hard to get on a course in Melbourne, let alone Australia, and pretty much the world where golf is being played. So, no, I'm very busy, David, very busy. No rules, scenario, situations or imbroglios for me to report because I probably haven't played golf. I had a little bit of a chip and a putt the other night, which was nice to get down there on sunrise down to the golf course and just chill out for an hour or so and work on some chipping. But no, that's about it. On average, how many people would contact you on a weekly basis from GRQ side of the world that you officiate on, asking questions? How many?
Oh, on average, 100 a week.
Just asking you random questions about golf situations that they're looking at facing and dealing with, yeah?
Yeah, I'd probably get 6 or 7 messages on Instagram a day, comments on YouTube, and then emails probably all adds up to about 100 a week.
Well, there you go, people. If you're listening to the Golf Rules Questions for the first time, that is the way to get in contact. You jump onto the YouTube, the growing resource of the Golf Rules Questions YouTube. You sign up there. Blakey put a challenge out last week. If there was enough ticks on the video of last week's podcast that he would goad me into doing in a German accent, which was just not going to happen because I respect my fellow German golf rules people more so to do a silly accent. I do speak a bit of German as we discussed, but I might do it in a German language. I'm going to get a guest one day I've got an Austrian friend I'm going to get, and who's mad in the golf space. I'm going to get him to come on. There we go. That's as close as I can get to you for doing German, Blakey. But the resource of the YouTube is wonderful. The Instagram, you've got to follow that. The newsletter, if you get the podcast, you'll get some great notes that go with that. So all of these ways that you can keep in contact with the Golf Rules Questions team and fraternity, community, the people, your people, David. Welcome back to your podcast. What are we talking about?
We're going to start with the Golf Rules Question of the Week answer for episode 30.
Okay, so I'll just remind you what that question was. After the player hits a ball onto the green, it stops and comes to rest on the green. As the player walking up to the green, suddenly the irrigation system turns on and the water runs across the grass, down the green and moves the ball. Does the ball need to be replaced, or is the player permitted to play it from where it is now at rest?
Yeah, I tried to trick a few. I don't usually try and trick anyone, but I did try and trick a few with this one, that they might think that the water is natural forces and that you just play it from where it lies. But we see under outside influence /1, that's like an interpretation of the definition of outside influence, status of air and water when artificially propelled. So would you agree that water coming out of a sprinkler is artificially propelled, Roscoe?
I would agree that water coming out of an irrigator is artificially propelled. Yes, that is correct.
So although wind and water are natural forces and not outside influences, artificially propelled air and water are outside influences. So if it's outside influence in its second dot point, if a ball at rest is moved by water coming from an irrigation system, the ball must be replaced.
Rule 9.
We just replace the ball. We don't play it from its new spot.
And for those of you that want to reference your handy rules guides and rules books that you put beside your bed and sleep, and not sleep with, but read before you go to bed at night, 9.6 and 14.2.
Yes, that's right. 9.6 is ball moved by outside influence, and 14.2 is ball needs to be replaced or replacing the ball.
So we talked previously, maybe several episodes ago, but about the great air blowing scenarios that go on at golf courses, especially if you're playing at a Tier 1 golf course. The greens and the ground staff might have those big blowers that they pull behind the tractor, and they might be blowing the debris off the fairway. You might pump a drive down there 320, and they might sort of whiz past and blow your ball.
What did you say? There's some cheese on the green.
Cheese on the green.
You said debris.
So if I knew which button on this little thing here made the boom tish noise, I'd press it, but I'm not exactly sure which button does the boom tish. I think I know after all these podcasts, but I'll save you the boom tish. But that was a joke, people.
So after we asked that question, didn't it happen to you at Peninsula, or you saw the little blower and?
No, we did the podcast the night before, and and the first I was going to golf the next day, and the first thing that I saw was one of the ground staff standing on the green with the backpack blower and blowing the debris off the green. You whacker.
It's a cheesy joke.
It's early, and I'm usually the one that's not the early person, but Blakey's still clearly getting to grasp of the day. He's got the bad jokes coming already. Now, Rocket and I talked about this on the My Love of Golf podcast last night. That episode's now live. If you do want to tune into my other little podcast venture, and I appreciate if you would, My Love of Golf, it's not golf rules related. It's just pure golf talk, a couple of nuffies talking, and sometimes there's an interview on there which has got some good ones coming out soon. But we talked about Annika Sorenstam, and she made her, return to the LPGA at the age of 50, she's approaching 51, made the cut. I think all the golf world was just absolutely pumped to see Annika out there playing. Looks in great shape, looks in great form, was playing golf, a lot of emotion attached to her return. And you could see that when she holed the final putt of her 4 rounds after making the cut. And it was just great to see. There's so many, we talked about at the start there, so many new people coming to the game of golf, Blakey. And, what I notice is there's a whole load of girls coming to the game of golf. You go to the driving range at Albert Park, and, maybe not every second bay, but every other bay's got a girl in it just swinging a golf club for the first, second or third time. And it's great. And people like Annika Sorenstam and Kari Webb, for that fact, really were at the forefront of that. They put female golf on the map and, really helped pave it and shape it for what it needs to be, what it can be and what it should be and what it will be. So anyway, there's a couple of interesting scenarios related to Annika. You might debrief those for us, please, David.
Yeah, so she on one of the holes in the second round, she hit her ball up against a fence or up beside a fence, and that fence was a boundary object. Now, it was right beside a fence. It was also right beside a gate. And so she thought, I just want to open the gate in the boundary fence or in the boundary object and play my shot. Can I open the gate? And the referee turned up, and unfortunately he stated no to Annika. You're not permitted to move the gate because it's integral. And when we usually think of as integral, integral is basically part of the challenge of playing that course, part of the challenge of playing golf, and you don't get free relief from something that's integral. However, the definitions of integral object do state that if part of the integral object is movable, then the player is permitted to move that integral or move that movable part of the integral object. Now, there's a few things that's basically the simple way of looking at it. What actually ended up happening was, because Annika was denied this moving of the gate, she took an unplayable, which is a 1-stroke penalty, hit it out. It might have been a par 5 or something. So she made bogey or double bogey, whatever, but she still made the cut, which was great. Then the referee's gone away and realised that they've made a mistake, and they've come and apologised to Annika. Said, yeah, you could have moved the gate. When I was thinking integral, I was thinking immovable. This thing was immovable, but because it was movable, she could have actually moved it. So the LPGA released a statement regarding the ruling giving to Annika Sorenstam on the fifth hole during the first round of the first round of the 2021 Gamebridge LPGA. The official on scene linked the word integral to the gate meant that it could not be moved. This was an error under the definition of an immovable obstruction in the rules of golf. The gate is considered movable if proven to be unlocked and therefore could have been moved to allow the player to hit the shot. The option to rescind the penalty is not available under the rules of golf. The official met with the player immediately following their second round to explain the mistake and apologise. So
he apologised. Sorry.
That's all well and good, but yeah, it's not. If there's an immovable part of an immovable obstruction, a player can also move that. But it was a bit weird because it was a boundary fence. It wasn't locked.
So if it was locked, my question, if it was locked, could she have said to the rules official, you've got a key for that, can you... And it was known that he had a key, just so they had to have a key to get through it because that was part of what was happening, and they needed to open that gate as part of the process. If she knew that he had a key, could he ask the rules official he or she to open the gate and to hold it if it was known that there was a key available?
Yeah, well, if there was a key, then the gate could be unlocked, and that would mean that it's still got a movable part. If there was no key, then it's not movable because it's locked.
So you can't say, she couldn't say there's a fence here, it's got a gate, the gate's locked, someone's got to have a key, get it down here.
No, that would be like, you couldn't take forever to find the key.
Okay.
It would need to be there on the spot basically. So I was watching a PGA event this morning. Is that the Bay Hill, Arnie Palmer?
Yeah, the A-pinned.
And Justin Rose shanked it out of a bunker.
Oh dear.
Up right beside a 4x4, a four-wheel drive truck.
Sponsors product?
I'd say so. I don't think it was the camera person's or camera person. But they weren't actually taking relief from the truck. They were taking relief from the ShotLink tower, which we talked about last week, the TIO. But if the TIO wasn't there and their swing was going to hit this truck, then is that truck movable or immovable? Again, it's how close the key is. If the key's in the vehicle, it's movable. If the key's not in the vehicle, it's not movable. An interesting point to this would be, say it was a junior tournament and there was just kids around that didn't have their driver's license. Is the truck movable if the key's in it? I'm not sure.
But no, it's not movable.
Yeah, I mean, technically it is movable, but, are you going to allow a 15-year-old to drive?
It's talking of Cessnock and 15-year-olds driving. When we went to raise some money to go take ourselves off to Palm Springs in 1987, we had the great idea of doing a car wash, and the members left their cars for us to wash while they were playing golf. And there may have been some unlicensed driving around the car park of the minors of the junior section at Cessnock Golf Club moving the cars around. All fun and games back in the day, Blakey. You wouldn't have that now, and don't do that now. If you're one of the young, impressionable golfers, do not get in a car without a license. That is forbidden, and you'll be banned from the podcast. So,
if you're under 20 and listening to this podcast, well done.
Yeah, that's more importantly. Now, that was a nightmare for that rules official referee. That was a monumental mistake. Seemed to be fairly innocuous at the time, but it's a pretty big mistake, really. Should know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, when situations like that happen for referees. We're never going to get them all right. There's only there's a cool saying in the business. There's only two types of referees: those that haven't got one wrong yet, and those that have.
Okay, so the linking word is the yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always going to get one. Basically, it's accepted that you will get one wrong, and at the time when you do get it wrong, you just got to deal with it, suck it up, and apologise and move on. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like someone hitting a shank. There's only two types of people: those that haven't had a shank and those that have. Yeah. Those that have hit a shank and those that haven't. Yeah.
Speaking of the Justin Rose shank, I can't wait to see that. Will you be able to make that into a little video for? Does that turn out to be a scenario of noteworthy reproduction?
Yep. We can Stuart and I can get onto that and pop that into a YouTube video.
Shout out to Stuart McPhee, part of the GRQ back office team. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but
that's a perfect way to describe it.
Does wonderful work on
behind the scenes,
supporting you with the video production and the graphics, and really helping you, I guess, ramp up the level of production and commitment to the videos. And thank you for your book, Stuart, which turned up in the mail, signed too, Blakey. You're not the only one with the signed Stuart McPhee book. We might have to promote Stuart's book at some stage. Stuart, he will be listening. Please let us know if we can help any way, get the wonderful 4th edition out there on the topic of, we won't introduce what the topic is until you give us the go ahead, but
just go for it. I think he'd be happy to.
No, we'll do it. We'll do the book justice in the next episode. We'll go through the process. But I'm off next week, Blakey, and we need to have a discussion about me being away the next 2 weeks. I might remind you that I am going to Barnbougle without you. I apologise again. So next week away, the week after away. So we've got to work out how we're going to maintain this weekly cadence of podcasting while we're away. Well, I'm away, but I'll be taking Stuart's book with us. Stuart, thank you.
Yes. So. With the I'll cut the Justin Rose one up, get that on. But just with the Annika one, I still have a couple of queries around the gate, in part because I've put a video up. When we had COVID and I went farming last year, I did a couple of rules videos and I put one up of a movable gate, and I just thought it was so innocuous. That's definitely an either.
Well, but basically, it's an either because I've already used the word in the podcast. Maybe appropriately, inappropriately, I don't know. But you've used it again, so that definitely is an either that you've used a big word that someone else used in the podcast twice. And I
don't even know what it means. Now
that is forbidden.
I put a video up of a gate in a fence and how I could just move it. That's all fine and well and good. But in the text section of that video, I put that you have to check to see that the committee haven't deemed it an integral object. Now, that is actually, this is where it gets really tricky, and I'm absolutely happy to get called out here because I still am just trying to work this out. If the whole gate has been called an integral object, then, or the whole fence gate. Yeah, I'm getting confused, but the whole fence gate is an integral object, and the movable part, the gate, is still permitted to be moved. Whereas if the committee deem just the gate, which is the movable part, to be an integral object, then that's not permitted to be moved. I know, it gets confusing. So I'm chasing that one up, and I'll definitely have an answer, whether it be next week or the week after.
When was that you were off farming, Blakey?
That was June last year.
So almost, I can see why you're so tired now. It makes sense. Because it's nearly 273 days of, you going to bed with that on your mind and not sleeping properly because it's been keeping you awake at night, Blakey. Get it sorted. Yeah. Get the answer out there.
I'm definitely going to, no, at the time I thought that there was nothing to it. I thought, this is correct as far as my understanding is. This is correct. And, I did one there of the cow poo, did one of with a trampoline. So there were some good videos, and I'll probably go farming again this year and do some more videos while I'm up there.
Oh, the cow poo, the video in the cow pat was fantastic.
And then the bull one as well.
Yeah, I can't remember that one, but anyway.
The dangerous animal condition.
Oh, that's right. So another situation from the ladies event on the weekend. Angela Yin, do you want to take us through what happened there?
Yeah, we haven't got the video up for this one just yet, but it's a good one because probably doesn't happen that often. The player and the caddy had a little bit of a discussion. By discussion, I mean disagreement. And then the players hit the shot. Wasn't a great shot because it went straight into the penalty area. So probably the caddy, who sounded Australian, was correct. And then it's crossed this point into the water, a red penalty area, and the referee's there and giving the options. Well, you can go back to your last place played, your previous place played. No, I don't want to do that. You can go back on a line from the flag. Well, that's, because it's like that horseshoe type
shape
design, it would have been nearly back on the tee. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, well, lateral relief from this red penalty area has you dropping in the bunker. Now, with a red penalty area or with any penalty area, you can drop any part of the course. This is one of my favourite rules. You can drop any part of the course except the same penalty area. So under those options of previous place played, back on a line, or lateral relief, you can drop on any part of the course except the same penalty area.
Or, unless your ball's in a movable obstruction like a cup.
No, you can drop it in there.
You can drop it in there.
You just can then take free relief.
Exactly right. So, okay. Did we answer that? Have we rounded that off? She
then played a really good shot. I'll get the video up, and then everyone will be able to watch it instead of just listening to me.
Okay, so let's keep rolling on. We'll keep this fairly brief. We might get this under 30 minutes. This might be an all-time record, Blakey. Let's keep moving.
NYC entrepreneur be happy.
Exactly right. No wittering. Background bingo. No background bingo. Sorry. No wittering, but there was background bingo from last week for the YouTube followers who love playing this game. Where was your background bingo and who got it right, and where was mine, Blakey, and who got that right?
Yeah, so I said I gave a pretty big hint with Eagle Point. I think there's only one golf course around there. That was Bairnsdale. I happened to go down to Bairnsdale a couple of weeks back, and King of background bingo, Andrew Miller, got that one right. And then he got yours. He typed in brick wall or stone wall around green. And I think he put Victoria in or something like that. And it popped up with Sandhurst, the third hole on the north.
Oh, good old Google. So that's how you find out that it's that hole in the north course, Peter Thompson designed north course at Sandhurst, which actually it's been probably maybe 2 or 3 years since I played there. Went there last week, just played with Phil from Bogies to Birdies. G'day, Phil. Scott Jamieson, skipper of my beloved Melbourne City, right up here. The course was fantastic. I really was impressed, and it was much better than the last time I played, so it was really enjoyable. It's I wouldn't say I had a negative perception based on the last time I played several years ago, but it really did lift in its standings for me.
Here's an interesting one for you. That 17th hole, the par 5.
Yep.
They're putting a little temporary green, or no, it's a permanent green, but it's another putting green just on the right-hand side, about 120 metres out from the green.
Why?
And then so if they take a hole out of play, they'll just cut that 17th hole into 2 holes.
Yep.
And you'll play a par 4 to that green, and then you'll play a par 3 from the 12th tee to the 17th green.
Yeah, because it's quite a neat bunker complex. Not bunker, a green complex there. It's nice and undulating. It's actually a fairly long hole. I was hit driver.
It's going to be a par 3, 88 metres, and the par 4 of must be 380 metres or something. Driver off the deck. It was very good too, Blakey, by the way. How did you go?
Yeah, I made a 5. wedged up. Standard driver to about 20 metres off the green, wedged it to 30 feet, and just standard 2-putt. You don't think I could put a wedge more than 20 feet away? No, that's not possible for me.
So mine was Bensdale. Yours was Sandhurst. This week, mine's a little bit hard to see.
You can't see it. It's a mountain.
There's a like a fairway like right here, and there's a kangaroo. There's a kangaroo right there.
That narrows it down.
It's got a hill.
There's a mountain in the background, a kangaroo on the fairway, and eucalyptus trees by the looks.
It's
Andrew?
a sand scrape.
Oh, okay. There's a hint. Andrew, good luck. Good luck with that. My picture here, I may have actually used it before. I can't remember, but just in the haste of getting prepared, you will be able to work that out pretty quickly. One of my favourite all-time places in the history of golf. Okay, very good. And this week's golf, no other Ivors. It's just Ivor Central. Someone will tell us who's leading that charge, please. If you are keeping Ivor counts, I had a couple of people have a bit of fun about whether we're calling it sprinklers and irrigators and stuff again. So that was pretty good. Well, it's a sprinkler, of course, and I in jest referred to it as an irrigator earlier on, just to once again keep that little bit of frivolity going that seems to keep us turning up every week. It's a sprinkler, mate. Sprinkler.
On an irrigation system.
It's irrigating, and it's a sprinkler. The sprinkler irrigates.
It's not an irrigator on a sprinkler
system.
System.
You can't have an irrigator that irrigates. It's a sprinkler. All right. One of the ground staff at one of the royal courses in Australia, I won't name which one, but let's just say it was one of the royal courses in Australia, commented and said, "Mate, sprinkler. What more higher power do you want?" One of the team members of a royal course. I can't get any higher authority to confirm that it's a sprinkler. Okay. All right. Is that what they're called in New Zealand? Seriously, irrigator?
No, it's just that the ones underground, and they pop up and on timers and stuff. Yeah, understand they're sprinklers, but the old ones connected to the hoses.
Yeah, you know what they're called? A movable sprinkler.
It's a movable sprinkler, but there's these other big ones, like real big, like ones that you have on farming.
Yeah, different.
On farms.
Yeah, different. Pivot irrigation.
Because the farmers look after the golf course and they just bring their irrigator out.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's because it's irrigating. That is the term. Anyway.
So that's why I was talking about the high pressure, and the amount of water that shoots out.
Okay. We've gone down a little rabbit hole there, back to our irrigator scenario. And this week's Golf Rules questions, can I read it, please?
Yeah, please do.
Now, just for everyone listening, this is written out. Blakey prepares these questions at length and depth. If I read them, and I'll read it as written. And it's written here, Fraz.
That's phrase.
Oh, phrase. F-R-A-Z, Fraz. I'll go with Fraz. Because phrase could be anyone. Phrase hits
how would you spell phrase?
You put an E on the end. F-R-A-Z-E. Phrase.
Oh, I would have thought that was phrase.
No, phrase. Raise.
Okay.
Raise.
Frazzy Jeff.
Now we're wittering. Just putting a wittering alert on. No, this is wittering. Phrase. Raise with an F is phrase. Raz with an F is phrase.
Okay.
Phrase hits his tee shot. Sorry, I'll start again. Phrase hits his tee shot into the I'll start once again. So I told you I'm reading. Phrase hits his tee shot.
I love how you've given this good props of Blakey prepares these. He writes them all out, and then in the first sentence there's a huge grammar or a grammatical error.
Yeah, well, you're throwing yourself under the bus there. Phrase hits his tee shot into some medium rough. He searches for his ball in the rough and finds it. Phrase, I can't read it without saying phrase.
He's calling phrase, it's fine.
Okay.
Can you say it in a Scottish accent?
No. We'll go with phrase. Phrase hits his tee shot into some medium rough. He searches for his ball in the rough and finds it. Phrase then goes in to get a club, and on the way back he accidentally steps on his ball. He then decides to take an unplayable, and after dropping his ball, hits it onto the green and makes a one putt. How many strokes has Fraz had?
pretty easy. He hits into the rough, finds it. Then he goes back to get a club, and on the way back to his ball, he accidentally steps on his ball. He then decides to take an unplayable because, maybe it was behind a tree or whatever. And after dropping his ball under 19.2C lateral relief, hits it onto the green and makes a one putt. How many strokes has Fraser had?
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Blakey. Now, we should have included this part that I'm about to round the podcast off at the front, because it would have had more chance of people actually listening to it and hearing it, because maybe some of them have switched off by now, hopefully not. But if you haven't, well, you're going to get the first dibs on what I'm about to show you here on the video. And, you haven't even really seen it, Blakey, but I've had these made for you.
It looks awesome.
Have a look at this on the video. I'm just going to I'll go silent for a second. Ta-da. There you go.
How's the big chest on the man?
Massive. And there's a bit of work, but that's a work in progress. That's it. That is we've released the decals with the wonderful Sandbuilt Studios design, and now we've been able to incorporate that on your first ever piece of T-shirt merchandisery. And here it is. I'm wearing it. I'm the model because I'm the only one that's got one. But yeah, it's the
pre-order yours now.
Well, in all seriousness, if you do want a Golf Rules Questions podcast featuring the Golf Rules Questions podcast art, or you can have it with the GRQ RU and the GRQ Ku logo, either or. We'll make some pictures. But if you want this one, let's just go with this one. Just shoot Blakey your size. Blakey, you can work out how people can pay you. This is so random that it's not funny. And we'll get it happen. We'll get some T-shirts to you. We'll work out a pricing strategy. We'll have a marketing meeting. We'll do the distribution part, and
we should probably go on to like Spotify or something. Oh, not Spotify, Shopify.
No, well, let's just see if anyone actually wants one first, and
that's true.
They can pay.
Maybe they want one with a collar.
Blakey, now you're 2 steps ahead.
What about a hoodie?
Let's just go with the T-shirt, because they actually exist. The process is in place to get these things reliably and quality printed. It's a nice promotional.
Just move your microphone for a second.
T-shirt. It's an AS Colour T-shirt. So if you've bought merchandise before, it usually comes from AS Colour. So they're a quality cotton T-shirt. It's a good item. But if you do want one of these, hit Blakey up. He can work out the way how you pay him, and we'll work out a price. Might be like $30 to $40 or something. It's fairly reasonable. It's not a money making thing. But maybe this is what I was thinking. Maybe in the future we can put something towards one of the causes that you are passionate about, men's health or something like that.
Yeah, well, I had someone this morning email me, and David Sauls emailed me and said your link for your mental health charity is stuffed. And I kind of knew that. Everyday Heroes settled up. They gave up. So they're all done.
Okay.
But you can go to Beyond Blue directly and put money in there. So David, if you're listening, I will update my link for Beyond Blue and get that onto my email ASAP. So thank you for that, for letting me know.
So if you want a T-shirt, hit Blake up with this size: small, medium, large, extra large. It's a navy blue colour, and it
looks black though.
It's navy blue.
I'll trust you, but it looks black.
Blakey, this is Zoom. The quality is good, but this is Zoom. It's navy blue. It's a dark navy blue, obviously, and it's got the podcast art on it. Small, medium, large, extra large. Blakey will tell you how much and how you can pay him, and give us a bit of time, and we'll get one organised, and we can get it to you. Might be some.
Is your hat black?
The hat's black. Yeah, you can see the different black hat and the blue shirt.
Yeah, okay.
Clearly see it's navy blue.
It's very similar, but okay.
Okay. Well, that's it for this week's Golf Rules Questions podcast. Thanks for listening in to all of our scenarios, all of the witterings, and all of us just trying to have a bit of fun and levitate the situation, levitate the information. Levitate means having some fun, and that's what we try and do in our quest to maintain our position as Australia's #1 golf rules focused podcast. For another week, Blakey, we'll see you.
Thank you very much, Roscoe.